I'm sweaty.
All right, game 5 of round 2, the third Saturday night game at Marvel Stadium. We're looking at the St Kilda Saints versus the Melbourne Demons. Sensible Dan, talk to me.
I was pleasantly surprised by the Saints. Even with all their injuries, they went away from home in wet weather footy, which is notoriously hard to do, and played really well, got a win. D's, I wasn't as impressed by them. They were playing against a very, very, very undermanned Fremantle side who also had 2 injuries during the game. They got the win. Good on them. You can only win who's put in front of you, but still got to be a little bit more impressed as of yet. In saying that, though, Tom McDonald had a great game. Looked to be back to his 2017 form again, which the D's really need because they've got no other tall forwards up there at the moment. Luke Jackson copped a knock during the game and sort of went off the boil after that. And Maxi Gawn said at half-time, I've got to find a role. That's not good. That's really not good.
How can your captain say, I need to find a role?
How can you run?
Not only that, how can you go into a game not knowing what your role is? What is that like?
Is he the Trent from Punchy of Melbourne?
Basically,
I don't know. I just kind of rocked up here.
Well, I mean, we do know Big Max. He's a bit like that. But that to me, that's red flags. I don't like that at all. I'm going to be tipping the Saints 1-39 here. I think they're going to get the job done again.
What do you like?
Well,
here?
I like the Saints going into the Giants game, and I was a bit nervous. I thought the Giants were going to roll them. I thought the wet weather might hurt them, but no, they pleasantly surprised me. They surprised me, and that's why I've got to back me against the D's, because really, you look at, they beat that Freo, that Freo side. They just didn't play like Freo of last year, obviously because they've got the injuries and whatnot, but if they beat the Freo of last year, if they did a Carlton Jackie Noons performance, I'd be back in the D's this week. But they just didn't. They just weren't up against the best competition. And
you can see, and they were talking about it on the broadcast as well, like their entries into 50, you could tell Alex Pearce has got no idea how to lead to a footy, and they just haven't got it at the moment. There's too many injuries to overcome. Some teams can bumble their way through. I think Freo's in serious trouble this season.
If you can't score, you can't win.
And the thing with Melbourne as well, like we kind of said at the start of the season, you just don't know whether they're going to be good. You don't know whether they're going to be bad, and that is not a good place to be because, well, more than likely going to be pretty bad. So that's why I'm saying it's 1-39, and I'd like to see the Saints win too. I like the Saints. I like the footy they play. I'm glad they won last week.
They've got a bit about them.
They do.
And Jack Sinclair's got a great mullet, as does Dan Butler. So
respect.
They're my team.
Respect that.
Here he is. No, look, if you can grind out wins at this stage of the season when you're 4 or 5 or 6 of your first choice players, they're not available, and you're still able to crank out wins. Boy, oh boy, that's going to set you up so well for the later on in the season when you get fresh legs come back in the door. That's going to make a difference. Now, look, I'm liking the Saints here, to be honest with you. They impressed me against the Giants. Admittedly, that wet weather footy, and I know it wasn't saturated, but wet weather footy sort of brings everything back down to the one level. It doesn't allow for that flashiness so much. And the team that worked harder ended up with the points. Admittedly, the Giants got done with a bit of bad luck, but you can't account for that. Hard work will beat good or bad luck every single day. And the Saints got up. I expect them to get up here. I'm tipping them 1-39 points. I'm looking forward to the battle of the midfield bulls here, fellas.
Yeah.
Track v steel. That ought to be very, very good. You said about Gawn. I did notice this too. Now, is he potentially going to spend time up forward? Does Luke Jackson go into the ruck? Makes it tough for Paul Hunter, but at least he knows what his role is. You know, this is a very interesting setup that we're now going to start seeing.
At least he knows what his role is that Max Gawn seems to not know. I find that so interesting. He's the one man that should know, what his role is.
If your captain doesn't know what he's doing when he's out there, that's a genuine concern. But that midfield mix will still be a bit up in the air for St Kilda. They're going to do a bit of tinkering. Crouch yet to come back as well. So that team's just going to get better. In terms of a multi, I've gone back to the well on this one. I'm just going with what I know and what I trust. I'm liking Petrarca anytime goal. It
always happens.
There's 3 things that are certain in life. I don't have to tell you what the first 2 are. The third one's a track goal. Oliver, 30 plus touches. He had about 35, 36 on the weekend. He'll repeat that back home. Still at home rather, because they played in Melbourne. Hunter Clark. 20 plus touches, really coming into his own on that halfback flank, and I expect he's just going to keep going about his merry way.
Just interestingly on him, every time I watch him, no one can run him down, but he's one of the slowest looking runners you've ever seen in your life. He prances along the turf, but and you just watch him and you think, I could run him down easily. And then you see guys running full pelt after him. No hope.
It's the inverse of Jack Stephen, who used
Yeah.
to take steps like Stewie Griffin. Just
Yeah.
That was how he used to run, whereas Clark's the opposite.
Mesmerising.
It's brilliant. Clark 20 plus, as I said. So track goal, Oliver 30 plus, Clark 20 plus, Jack Higgins goal.
Mm-hmm.
Smack that together, $4.50. Thank your mother for the rabbits.
I also like Cozzy Pickett to kick one in this one. $1.72.
Yoink.
As a small forward, you know, I think that he's just as likely as anyone to get
And
on the
he's a
score
real
sheet.
talent too. He's a goal sneak.
Yep. He's just got that X factor about him, you know, and he was giving it a bit last week. They were mentioning Byron on the broadcast. Byron is steamroll him, but I like the fact that he gets stuck in and gives it a crack anyway.
Absolutely. He's working to the letter of the law, and we all always appreciate that.